Soa Stewart, and I'm a resident at Oldawaya Gardens. I also applied for the resident leader application back in October. I still haven't heard anything yet. I'm looking at, I think it's number 6 on there about the Sandy recovery. I started out as a Section 3 worker, and in Coney Island, the reason why this funding was given to us was because of the suffrage of the people of Coney Island, and we have been left out in the process of rehabilitating and uplifting our community. I could have sworn back in the legislation it says projects that get over $200,000 are allocated to hire Section 3 workers. When I was a Section 3 worker myself, I dealt with everything from harassment to extortion. I took up letters to HUD. Over 30 people complained to HUD about the hiring process. Even when I was hired through Section 8, I had to go through somebody else. I had to pay. And all I'm saying is, as for the people in Coney Island, even though I might stand alone here, we're suffering in Coney Island. We need the straps to pull up our boots. We want to be a part of the redevelopment. Even myself, I went through the NYCHA Reese Section 3 program. I went through City, I forgot the other pre-apprenticeship program. Still wound up getting jobs, having to be extorted and having to pay. I started my own construction company. I went ahead and did whatever I needed to do to become self-sufficient for myself. Still, I can't get in. There has to be a way for the residents, especially of Coney Island, because the funding is from our suffering. We're getting this money because we were underwater, but we're not a part of the redevelopment of our community. There has to be some type of, I guess, point of contact, because even when I worked for Section 3, I seen the contractors take advantage of you guys. I know NYCHA is going through so much. I seen them buy cheap materials, and there has to be somebody watching the watchers. And I think there's something that definitely can be worked out. I'm putting my foot forward as a young person to take a stand in my community. You guys that are older, that have been fighting for years, it's time for somebody else to step up. And I'm definitely for the fight, but there has to be something done about this Section 3. If Section 3 isn't working, let's just X out the legislation, because it's sitting there and it's being of no use to the people. And it's kind of a disrespect to me, because my ancestors fought in the civil rights for Section 3. So all of these people fought for what? For us to be here today where we can't even work in our community. So I'm thankful that you guys gave me a chance to at least speak and to say my part. I'm very concerned, and I'm willing to do whatever I can to build a better connection between the residents in my community, because NYCHA can't do it by themselves. We have to help as the residents to get this thing on track. And thank you guys for hearing me out, and I appreciate it.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes,
So about the Section 3, what exactly do you find is the problem? Is it the process itself? Is it the aftermath?
It is the process itself. Once you get into the Section 3, it's the TA. I'm going to be very candid. These TA people are low-income people, and a lot of them don't have money. So when you got the contractors coming to them saying, listen, give you a couple of dollars, you get the people and you'll get some money off of that. That's how it works. You have to actually pay for a job in Coney Island. I had to pay $150 after I'm already taking taxes out to work. And then I have the TA president doing this to me. And then when I bring it up and I talk about it, I'm standing alone. I also work for ACOM. And when I worked for ACOM in Haber Houses, there was a lot of Russian tenants, and I felt so bad for them. They were crying to me. They didn't know how to call for repairs. I started helping them. They told me I was getting too involved in the community, and ACOM fired me after I worked there for 2 months because I was complaining about the repairs, how these Russians were being treated, and they just threw me out after that. So it's like, it's just a disrespect by the contractors. And me as a contractor, when I start getting contracts, I'm going to build a connection with the community. I don't know if you know about Grenadier, but Grenadier owns, when they came in, they are amazing. They brought their consulting firms. They sat down with the community and they said, what do you guys need? They felt so bad. They said they want to start a training program because we're being left out. All we want to do is be able to provide for ourselves. We've been getting taken care of for too long. It's time for us to take care of ourselves. And we're ready to do it, but we need some help. We need some resources. We can't do it by ourselves, especially when it's our federal tax dollars and this is coming from Sandy, which we suffered in our community.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, that concludes our public comments portion, and we will proceed with the regular calendar. The first order of business is a motion to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of Wednesday, March 27th,
Move.
2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. We will now proceed with the chair's report.
Thank you. So I just wanted to bring the public and the board up to date on where we are with the organizational changes that were made as per the agreement signed on January 31st. As required by the agreement, we are in the process of standing up 3 new departments: the Compliance Department, an Environmental Health and Safety Department, and a Quality Assurance Unit, which will have to be certified on Monday. For the Compliance Department, we have named an interim acting compliance officer, Dan Green. For environmental health and safety, we have named Patrick O'Hagan as the acting environmental health and safety officer. And for quality assurance, we have named Kathy Pennington as the acting quality assurance person, as well as the senior vice president for information technology. We are in the process of posting and recruiting for all of those roles so that we can find permanent staff to take them on. The XRF testing, which is where we use an X-ray machine to look through historic layers of paint, began on April 15th at Harlem River Houses. We will be going to 7 additional developments starting on May 1st: Williamsburg, Bronx River, St. Nicholas, Johnson, Red Hook West, Castle Hill, and Marble Hill. The order in which we are going through and doing the testing is driven by where the most children under 6 are. And we will have results on the website starting May 1st as those come in from the contractors. The alternative work schedule, which is giving night shift coverage 7 days a week, began on March 31st with the first round of caretakers, as well as their supervisors and groundkeeper supervisors and building superintendents. Phase 2 will be implemented at an additional 39 consolidations starting on June 30th. The staff selections for those different shifts has begun. And then we will begin phase 3 in July, and phase 4 will be implemented in October. But since we started this program where we have caretakers beginning early in the morning and staying till later, as well as being available on weekends, we have seen a 10% decrease in the amount of garbage that's improperly just left at various locations. A 15% decrease in the number of bags observed outside designated areas, and a 14.7% decrease in the amount of bulk. Obviously, there are some developments that are doing significantly better, and some that still have some work to do. But overall, you're already starting to see an improvement in residents' quality of life. In addition, we signed an agreement with the maintenance workers to also do an alternative work schedule. This still needs to be ratified by that local. However, the wage increase follows what the rest of the city employees pattern followed. But there will be a 25% differential for working on Saturday, and a 50% differential for Sunday. And then all current employees will receive a one-time $1,500 bonus for taking on these new alternative shifts. And it also means that we are freeing enough money so that we will have an additional 56 maintenance workers and 2 additional emergency service aides. And that concludes the chairs.
Thank you, Chair. We'll now proceed with the general manager's report. Ms. Hart.
Good morning. My name is Joey Koch. I am Senior Vice President of Operations for Support Services. Thank you again for letting me provide an update on our heating season. I have here with me today Godfrey Charles, our Deputy Director of Heating. We began providing these updates in the fall, and we will continue to do so until the end of heating season, which is May 31st. As you are well aware by now, NYCHA approached the heating season proactively. That meant reforms in our policies, procedures, and staffing so that we could better serve our residents. During the 2017-2018 heating season, October 1st through April 22nd, 2018, there were 4,171 outages throughout NYCHA, lasting on average 25 hours, This season, we have had a total of 3,101 outages, lasting on average 9 hours for the same corresponding period. That's a decrease of 64% in response time. Taking a closer look at the restoration times, during the current heating season, 84% of outages were restored within 12 hours, while 5 lasted over 24 hours. Last year, 53% of outages were restored within 12 hours, and 32 lasted 24 hours. So that was a dramatic improvement from last year. A reminder of some of the initiatives that were undertaken to achieve these improved results. On September 9th, 2018, we changed the staffing model throughout the heating department. Staff are now on site at their assigned clusters throughout the 5 boroughs from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, including holidays. Previously, our staff would only be on site from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We have added roving teams from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And we have a 24-hour heat desk dedicated to monitoring incoming work orders and the central heating alarm system to dispatch staff as needed. And also during extreme temperatures, we set up the situation room at Long Island City that allowed NYCHA personnel to gather information and coordinate responses and resources. Some of the departments included the emergency management group, heating, elevators, IT, and maintenance, repair, and skilled trades. Just because the weather is getting warmer does not mean that our staff still isn't hard at work. Having more staff on hand at different times, other than the 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., has allowed us to react very quickly. An example of this was last week when we experienced a gas outage late Wednesday evening, April 17th. Our staff in Brooklyn learned that the fire department cut a gas line at the Park Rock Rehab in Crown Heights, which interrupted not only cooking gas, but also heat and hot water service to 27 apartments. Facing an unknown amount of time until services could be restored, we deployed 2 parallel solutions at the same time. We engaged National Grid to help restore service, and we also started mobilizing and getting a mobile boiler on site. We were able to secure the mobile by 12 a.m. and have it on site by 4 a.m. the following day. Fortunately, we did not need to utilize the mobile, and National Grid was able to restore service, but this is an example of how having staff on at those later hours really has affected our restoration of services. As I mentioned last month, we began taking advantage of the warmer weather and started our summer overhauls. This has resulted in 806 planned hot water outages. This preventative maintenance that we conduct every year during the warmer months helps ensure that our plants operate more efficiently during the cold weather when our residents need them the most. So far, we have completed 806 hot water unit overhauls, which is 47% of the NYCHA stock. We anticipate the remaining 53 will be completed by July. Overhaul of our boilers will start this month and will continue until heating season on October 1st, 2019. Taking a closer look at our heating systems and acknowledging that they're very large and complex, and they rely on intricate parts to keep the systems moving. Though replacement of boilers and heating systems is ideal, we still have to deal with the smaller components and what that means to our systems. Thanks to the mayor and to a $20 million in additional funding from the Community Development Block Grants, we are able to repair and replace many of these smaller components. The funding, as of now, has supported 94 projects that total $13.7 million that are either underway or completed or in progress. A couple of those projects are 33 new isolation valves at Jackie Robinson Houses and 868 Amsterdam Place, feed water line replacements at Johnson, Jackson, Sotomayor, and Soundview Houses, and the purchase of 5 additional mobile boilers that were in front of the board last month. The remaining $6 million will be spent on zone valve replacements throughout the Bronx, Manhattan, as well as boiler room dewatering pump replacements at Marcy. These projects are still in the procurement phase, and we look forward to updating you on those soon. As we approach the end of heating season, again, I want to commend the heating staff for their tireless hard work. Also, the plumbers and the electricians who work in the boroughs and at MRST. They really have done an incredible job and have worked so hard. So thank you, Godfrey, and to all of your staff. We are going to continue to work as hard as we have been. So thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Gonzalez.
No questions, more of a comment. I too want to thank Mr. Godfrey and Mr. Almodovar for taking an interest in the sensors issues. If you recall, we spoke at length about that, and it's really made a difference. So thank you and your staff.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
We will now proceed with the calendar items 1 through 12. Number 1.
Good morning. My name is Polina Bakhtiar. I'm the Director for Real Estate Development in the Real Estate Development Department. Item number 1 pertains to our request for authorization to close on the Hope Gardens PACT conversion. Specifically, authorization is requested to submit documents to HUD for RAD Section 18 conversion, form authority, corporate affiliates, enter into 1 or more 99-year leases, enter into a pilot agreement, and provide lessors financing and authority subordinate subsidy financing. The authorization is requested as it relates to the conversion of 5 developments in the Hope Gardens consolidation, named Hope Gardens, Palmetto Gardens, Bushwick 2 Groups A and C, Bushwick 2 Groups B and D, and Bushwick 2 CDA Group E, totaling 1,315 units in Brooklyn. The total development cost of the project is approximately $400 million, with a scope that will take approximately 24 months to complete through tenant-in-place rehabilitation. The scope of work addresses both the needs captured by the RAD physical conditions assessment and those needs arising from resident and authority priorities, particularly related to heating, security, and lead hazards. The conversion will meet all needs identified in the RPCA and will address all major issues detected by the developer during the in-unit inspections. Any questions? Great. Thank you so much.
2 through 8.
Good morning, Deborah Goddard to present the capital items. Starting with item number 2, which is the recommendation to reject all bids related to the Marshall Plaza building envelope restoration. Our bids variance ranged from 34% over our estimate to well over that. We reviewed the bid package and we believe that there are inconsistencies within the bid package. We are taking another look at this and we'll put it back out to bid. Item number 3 is the recommendation to award contract for roofing and railing replacement at Astoria Houses to Pro Metal Construction. The contract's worth almost $5 million. Pro Metal is the second lowest bidder. They are a woman-owned business. They've been in business for since '98, done work with us satisfactorily. The lowest bidder did not conform to the legal requirements for the bid response and were deemed non-responsive. The VNC is pending, therefore this award is not yet final until that comes through clean. This bid variance was almost 35% lower than our estimate. We met with them. The primary difference was in the amount of concrete work projected, and we believe that the amount of work that they projected actually isn't keeping with our experience. This was designed out of house, and we're taking a look as to why the discrepancy. But we do believe it was a responsible bid, and we're recommending we award it. There will be 1 Section 3 hire. This is federally funded. Item number 4 is also a recommendation to award a contract for gas piping replacement at Grant Houses. We recommend the award to Richards Plumbing and Heating, low bidder at almost $3 million. This takes care of 5 of the 9 buildings. The other 4 were completed previously due to outages. We have identified with operations a number of sites that have had persistent problems with their risers, and when we got additional money last year from HUD, we targeted gas riser replacement. Richards has a satisfactory record with us. Their V&C is approved, and therefore this award would be final. Their variance is almost 52% lower than our estimate. They are going to do a lot of the work themselves and not subcontract it out, reducing costs associated with overhead and subcontractor markups. They're very familiar with our work. They're very familiar with riser replacement, so we're confident in their bid, and we recommend going forward. They are recommending 2 Section 3 hires, and this would be city funded.
I had spoken to someone earlier. This is with the gas piping where it's gonna take approximately 5 weeks.
Yes, thank you
No.
for raising that.
Yes. So is it 5 weeks per building at the same time? Or is it 5 weeks per building and then they move on to the next one for another 5 weeks and move on to the
It won't
next?
be the whole site. It might be a couple buildings at the same time, depending on how they man it. But it'll be rolling through the site. And so we will undertake the same process we do for an unplanned outage. Written notice to the tenants, lobby meetings, hot plates, a flyer that tells them where they can get assistance if they are disabled or elder. So the full response as we would do if it was unplanned. But this will be planned. We'll notify residents ahead of time.
You understand my concern, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We appreciate it's a huge inconvenience, but hopefully to avoid unplanned outages, it's worth the investment.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 5 is the third increase to the construction management services contracts related to the Sandy Recovery Program at Portland Manor, Hamel, and Redfern houses. This is D&B Engineers and Architects. This increase is approximately $675,000. This change order relates to the extension of the construction work at these sites due to delays. Therefore, construction management costs have increased. You know, you've heard me speak before. We've had a number of things. We redesigned some stuff. We've broken up bid packages. We've had to go out to rebid. So our construction managers, and consistent with the next vote, their term of their contract is extended and their work is extended. This change order will be funded by FEMA or CDBG DR. So as I just referenced, item number 6 is the recommended third increase to 14 construction management service agreements related to Sandy. This is a single contract divided up amongst 14 firms. We've been here before, but we think now at this point, we're at a point in the program we can predict with some reliability the final term of this work and the final cost. We're recommending another $20 million increase to these contracts, again, to be funded by FEMA, block grant, or insurance. Item number 7 is to ratify change order number 5 associated with the Hope Gardens boiler replacement. This is being undertaken by Stevens Technical Services. It's had a long history. It's been part of an EPC. And we've also had 3 DOB inspections each time finding new problems. So this final inspection, we believe will be the last. And we've had to, this one deals with the fact that DOB has deemed the hot water heaters to be hot water boilers, and we had to go back and do some more work to comply with building code related to that. This change order is valued at almost $300,000 and will be federally funded. Thank you.
Number 8.
Oh, sorry. I got it somewhere. Sorry. Ratify change order number 3 related to Red Hook East and West Restoration. This is for technical construction services. The third change order is worth a little bit over $1 million. During construction, contractor identified areas that required additional asbestos abatement that were not identified in the pre-construction testing. And to prevent delay in completing the project, we directed them to commence the work. So we're asking for your ratification to fund this additional abatement. Again, funded by FEMA, block grant, or insurance. Okay, now,
Thank you. 9 through 12.
Good morning, Chair, Board members. Kathy Pennington, EVP for Operations. Resolution number 9 is requesting authorization to approve a change order to this requirement contract awarded to Bug Queen Incorporated for integrated pest management, which did not require initial board authorization for an initial 2-year term with a 1-year renewal option to increase the not to exceed amount in order to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 2-year term and 1-year renewal option, which commenced on October 31st, 2018 and is continuing through October 30th, 2020. This contract will be utilized in various Bronx development. The increase to the not to exceed amount is $2,160,000. And item number 10 is requesting authorization to approve a change order to this requirement contract to MNRR Construction Corp. For cleaning of basement and crawl spaces, which did not require initial board authorization for an initial 2-year term with one 1-year renewal option to increase the not to exceed amount in order to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 2-year term and the 1-year renewal option term, which commenced on July 31st, 2018 and is continuing through July 30th, 2020. This contract will be utilized at various Brooklyn developments. The increase to the not to exceed amount is $320,000. And item number 11 is requesting authorization to ratify this award of an IDIQ contract between the authority and Cuisine Croton Incorporated. This contract is the 2-year contract with a 1-year renewal option to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. This contract provides for the purchase and delivery of kitchen cabinets in accordance with the authority's standard specifications and delivery ready for installation by authority's carpentry personnel. In order to ensure continuous delivery of kitchen cabinets, contract 1906916 was awarded on April 8th prior to the board authorization with approval from the general manager. If the award of this contract is delayed, there will be a lack of kitchen cabinets to perform required work, thereby affecting pending move-outs and open work orders for kitchen cabinet replacements. This contract will be used at various developments citywide and the Long Island City warehouse. The amount is $4,190,492. And that's it for that resolution. And resolution number 12 is requesting authorization to ratify a change order to this requirement contract awarded to RJ Bruno Incorporated for labor-only plumbing services, which did not require initial board authorization and as subsequently amended for an initial 2-year term with 1-year renewal option to increase the not to exceed amount in order to fund work completed at Park Rock Consolidation, which was emergency replacement of 2 boilers and hot water heaters at 2 buildings located at 1511 Sterling Place and 1578 Sterling Place. The work completed at Independence Towers, which was an emergency gas service restoration for a building located at 85 Taylor Street. That was an entire building gas out. And the continued provision of services for labor and materials during the remainder of the 1-year renewal option, which commenced on May 19th, 2018, and is continuing through May 18th, 2019. This contract will furnish all labor, materials, incidentals, and equipment required for plumbing services at a fixed hourly rate. This contract will provide services at various Brooklyn developments. And the increase to the not to exceed amount is $426,100. Any questions? Thank you all.
Just a comment,
Yes, sir.
just a comment. First of all, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you, sir.
And the second part is, you're gonna be missed at the other position. On behalf of all those residents that their attention was brought to you about this issue, and you took care of in a wonderful amount of time, we thank you.
You're very welcome, and I'll still be around to help.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Chair, 12 items were presented for board approval. May I have a motion to approve the 12 items?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Chair, being that all matters before the board today have been addressed, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Thank you very much.